from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, CSN Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight it's Game 2 of this three-game series between the young Houston Astros, the youngest team in the American League, and the young Atlanta Braves. And included in the youth is, of course, George Springer, along with John Singleton, Jose Altuve, and the other young Astros players on display in this three-game set. And the Braves have their young standouts as well. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Jeff Blum with you tonight. Alan Ashby gets a few days off. Julia Morales is here in just a few minutes as we get a chance to see some of the really talented players in Major League Baseball on display in this series. Jeff?
Yep, and they're getting that national attention. It's good to be on TV talking about some young athletes coming up through this Astros organization. George Springer being one of those guys on the cover of Sports Illustrated. That's one way to get noticed. But I think what he's done and what the Astros are doing, you see on the top, baseball's a great experiment. It's not only the players on the field, but it's also the front office who has a lot of things going on with the data analysis. And now some of these guys are coming through the pipeline, making their appearance on the big league stage.
Now they're here, but unlike 40, 50 years ago when players might start at Class D and tediously work their way through the minor leagues, and by the time they reach the big leagues, they may have 6 or 7 years of seasoning. It's a quicker process now, and a lot of the learning takes place at the major league level.
Yeah, especially for the Houston Astros, it has to happen at the big league level. Yeah, they're talented guys. Maybe could use a couple more ABs and some seasoning down in the minor leagues, but the time is now for a lot of these guys, and Houston fans deserve that.
And George Springer has shown some tendencies to go the other way. That's one of those things that he can learn. He's a fine pull hitter. He hit one out to center field last night.
Yeah, he's got pop. And what I like about him is that he can go the other way with just as much pop. He's got power to all the fields. We saw it last night, driving the ball to center field up in the Budweiser Pavilion. But I think when George Springer's going extremely well, he's doing a good job of keeping that head still, letting that ball travel and get deep, driving that ball the other way. He doesn't have to worry about forcing the ball out of the ballpark. If he barrels it up, there's a good chance there's going to be a large sound and a long distance off the end of that bat.
Coming up, left turn. LJ Hose is back with a big club as the Astros seek to fill a big hole in left field. Can LJ make his case to be part of the Astros' future? Or will Domingo Santana blast his way to Houston ahead of schedule? Julia Morales discusses the Astros' left turn when we come back. Comcast Sportsnet's presentation of Houston Astros baseball is presented by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box for the new Jalapeno Ranch or BBQ Ultimate Cheeseburgers at participating restaurants. And by AT&T Uverse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Mobilizing your world.
Pittsburgh. Astros and Braves in game 2 of a 3-game set, and the Astros looking to even up the series tonight. Astros making some moves today. Before the game, though, outfielder Robbie Grossman, who's been struggling recently, was sent down to AAA Oklahoma City, and the Astros recall LJ Hose, who will be starting in left field today. He was swinging a hot bat in AAA. 323 was the average. Feeling good and looking good. That was in 25 games. And you see the video here. This is when he was with the big league club. He made his opening day roster debut, and on that day hit that first home run. You saw there the first of his 2 home runs this season, but then really started to struggle at the plate before he was sent down. His average around 200 in the majors, and he's looking to get that up. Bo Porter really looking for some production and some spark in that left field position offensively. Nobody getting the job done. You see the numbers there for the players in left field so far this season and where they rank as far as the major leagues go. The average around 200 home runs, just 4 right there. Not going to do it for the Astros. They're looking to find someone that will stick in that spot, and they keep giving Grossman and Hose these opportunities. So maybe a little added pressure for LJ Hose. He says that's not going to bother him, though. He's just going to try to get to the player that he was last season. But one name that has been tossed around, maybe by fans as well, is a guy in AAA right now, outfielder Domingo Santana, who's playing real well at the AAA level. 12 homers so far this season. But a reminder, the kid is 21 years old. It might be a little bit longer before we see him at the major league level. We'll have more on him during the game later. But coming up, a guy who has a lot to do with immediate future for the Houston Astros, Collin McHugh, facing his hometown team. Altuve and Springer looking to come through and chop down the Braves. Lineups, first pitch coming your way.
Somehow. Now in interleague play, it's game 2 at Minute Maid Park of a 3-game series. Day game tomorrow, a 1:10 start. Here's the lineup for the Atlanta Braves, managed by Freddie Gonzalez. B.J. Upton leads it off in center field. Tommy LaStella is the second baseman. Batting third at first base, it's Freddie Freeman. Evan Gattis is the cleanup man. He's catching tonight with Jason Hayward in right field, Justin Upton in left field. Chris Johnson at third base, Ryan Dohm at the DH, and Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop.
And for your Houston Astros, it's going to be right-hander Collin McHugh. Looking to end a 2-game skid he's on, but last time out in Tampa Bay actually pitched extremely well. He went 6 strong, throwing 104 pitches, did not give up an earned run, even though 2 were on the scoreboard after he left and gave him the loss. Astros were shut out in that game, but he's doing a great job, making his 12th start of the season. Last 6 starts for Houston, he's got a 2.10 ERA, and his strikeouts per 9 inning is right around 10. Fantastic number, low whip around that 1 where you want to be. And that opponent batting average is second in the major leagues at $1.92.
Colin McHugh from Covington, Georgia, went to Berry College in the state of Georgia, and now pitching against Georgia's team. And he is pitching for the second time in his career against the Braves. He's only pitched 1 inning. And now as he goes to work, it's B.J. Upton. And he showed off some thunder last night. He flexed his muscles with a 3rd inning home run to the Landry's Crawford boxes in left field, going 1 for 4 in that game. That was home run number 7 of the year for Upton. And there's strike 1 to B.J. 203 is his batting average. 7 homers, 22 runs batted in, and something that's not close to what the Atlanta Braves expected when they awarded him a 5-year, $75 million deal. That one moves up and in, and quickly he's behind 0-2. Home plate umpire Bob Davidson, the crew chief, is advising Justin Upton, their brother, BJ, on the location of that pitch. He may have asked, where was that? And it's 1-2. Umpires have to like that question, Jeff. The hitter should know where the pitch was if he swung at it, right?
Yeah, but you got to send out that feeler. Okay. Let him know you're thinking about where that pitch is, and make sure that he knows that you're thinking what he's thinking.
Always an angle, isn't it? Always an angle for these hitters.
Well, you want to know if that's going to be the bottom, and then in asking that question, it kind of stops the strike zone right there. And if he calls one lower, then he say, "Hey, you lied to me, man."
All right, just trying to be consistent. Upton really trying to get started, and on the curveball, he strikes out. That has been a lethal weapon for Colin McHugh, that big deuce.
Yeah, he's got a good one off the table, and I think what's made it more effective in the time that we've been able to see him compared to video that we saw from Colin McHugh coming out last year is that elevated fastball. He really didn't have that in a lot of the video and scouting reports that we read about Colin McHugh, but he's got some good late life. Gained a couple miles an hour over the offseason, it seems like, too.
Yes, he has. Upton is a strikeout victim. Now it's Tommy La Stella. He was 0 for 4 in last night's game. And fouls that one back, strike 1. It looked as if he had a slow bat last night. 289, 6 runs batted in. And good numbers as far as reaching base for this 25-year-old rookie. Just looked as if he would have a hard time catching up with a good fastball. But now he lines one to left field, and there is L.J. Hose. Pretty well hit by La Stella, so cancel that. It's out number 2.
Well, was hit pretty well, and of course he hits it to L.J. Hose, making a reappearance here in left field for the Houston Astros. He'll be donning the number 0 in center field. Dexter Fowler, George Springer, and right around the infield. You're going to see Domingo, VR, Altuve, Singleton, and behind home plate, Jason Castro working with Colin McHugh.
L.J. didn't wear 0 before.
No, that number is now at first base.
28. Mr. Singleton has it. He's not giving it up. Strike 1 to Freddie Freeman. With 12 homers, 37 runs batted in. He carries a 286 batting average. 0 for 3 with a walk in last night's game. The shift is on. Altuve's out in right field. There's the big curve, and it's 0-2. McHugh's pitches per inning on average have been creeping up higher and higher since the beginning of the season. But that is a 10-pitch first inning. 1, 2, 3. Very impressive. The Astros come up against rookie left-hander Alex Wood in a moment. This lineup card for Bo Porter presented by Jack in the Box. Showing you the leadoff man, Dexter Fowler. He's become a fixture there and in center field. He's followed by Jose Altuve, the batting leader in the American League, at second base. George Springer's in right field. John Singleton at first base. Matt Dominguez batting fifth. Holds down third base with Jason Castro, the catcher. The DH is Chris Carter with LJ Hose in left field and Jonathan Villar at shortstop.
On the mound for the Atlanta Braves, Alex Wood making his 8th start. He's got 18 appearances, worked out of the pen, got sent down to AAA to extend himself before coming back and making a couple of these starts. He's got 6 losses on the season, and 3 of those losses, the Braves have been shut out. So a bit of a tough luck loser. His strikeout percentage per 9 innings, right at 9.4. Does a good job working 3 pitches, fastball, and he gets to 2 strikes, so get to that changeup, curveball. Pretty even split between those two. That opponent batting average at 272.
Dexter Fowler leads it off. That is strike one. Fowler at 273. Has 6 home runs, 24 runs batted in, a .380 on base average, 7th in the American League. And this one heads for right center field. B.J. Upton over. That will bounce and go to the warning track area. Fowler into second. A looping throw offline and not quite there in time. Fowler opens it with a double, his 12th of the season.
Dexter's done a pretty good job swinging the bat. Lately right-handed, does a good job staying inside this one and going the other way. For a second there, I thought B.J. had a beat on it. But I thought that was great base running at the end of it. Even though B.J. Upton gets to it on one hop, Dexter Fowler realizes that he's going to beat that return throw into the second base.
Fowler, who was born in Atlanta, trying to make this quite a night for the Georgia guys on the Astros. McHugh off to a good start. And now he's at second for Jose Altuve. Altuve, in addition to leading the American League in batting average, leads in hits with 105. And he leads in steals with 27. And that's a little funkiness from Alex Wood, the way he works that front leg. There's ball one. Altuve 2 for 5 last night to get up to 337. He has continued his hitting surge, but has not had much company from his teammates. Turned back towards second base. Wood has worked in the minor leagues on his changeup since he was sent down. He had not been using that pitch a whole lot in relief for the Braves. This is his 8th start for them as he returns to the rotation. Ground ball short. Fowler's going to third. Here's Simmons with the throw, and the tag by Chris Johnson gets him. That's out number 1. Altuve reaching on the 6-5 play on Fowler. And are they going to review it? No.
I think he kind of got that idea from Listach. She said, hey, hold on, why don't they look at it? But Bo Porter has yet to come out of the dugout because he's the one that's got to see if he wants to make that call. But I'm not sure if I'm Dexter Fowler, if I'm going to try and test Simmons at shortstop. He's shown that he's pretty adept at making some great plays over there, and that's a heads-up play and a good play by Chris Johnson, getting over to third base and giving him a good target and being able to put that tag on Fowler.
Bo Porter has lost his man in scoring position. 1 out now for George Springer. Springer hit a rocket last night. There's strike 1 to George. His 14th home run of the year. He has 39 runs batted in with a .240 batting average. Going 1 for 5 in last night's game. 14 home runs is a Houston rookie record prior to the All-Star break. Lance Berkman had 12 homers in 2000 prior to the break. 0-2. And he needs 4 more runs batted in. As you see, Altuve with his 27 steals and 30 tries. And Springer would tie Mitch Molesky for the rookie record for runs batted in before the All-Star break from 2000 for Molesky. Altuve takes off. Here's the throw from Gattis. It sails high and it's very late. Altuve gets his 28th stolen base.
Ho-hum, another Altuve stolen base. Great jump. I'd like to get inside his head and figure out what he sees in opposing pitchers, because there's something he's keying on.
Right. Well,
got a great jump off the left-handed pitcher right there.
Yeah, and last night he stole off Craig Kimbrell in the 9th inning. down by a run with 2 outs in the 9th with Springer batting. And he was asked after the game, well, wasn't that a little chancy? He said no, he wasn't paying any attention to him.
He knows what he's doing out there.
2 balls, 2 strikes. It's a high percentage too, 28 for 31 for Altuve. He's high percentage in about everything lately. It's 3-2.
And that's basically first move, but he's on to something. Sometimes base runners at first base can peek in and get the signs out of the catchers when they're squatted down like that. Maybe he knew that he was going to home plate and took a chance.
That's strike 3. 2 outs.
See who's backing up Alex Wood. Around the outfield, you've got the brothers Justin Upton and B.J. Upton in left and center, and then Jason Hayward in right field, Chris Johnson at third base, and Drupton Simmons at shortstop, Tommy La Stella at second, Freddie Freeman at first base, and Evan Gattis, after DHing last night, will do the catching this evening.
John Singleton is in the box, hitting 188 with 4 homers. He's driven in 10. He was 0 for 4 in last night's game. Left-handed hitters actually are hitting higher against Wood than right-handed batters this season. Here's strike 1 for Alex Wood. Alex is from Charlotte, North Carolina, went to the University of Georgia. 188 for Singleton with 4 homers. He's driven in 10. Wood was a second-round pick by the Braves in 2012. And, he had Tommy John surgery in college. Ground ball, shortstop. Simmons on over to first. No runs, a hit. Leadoff double wasted by the Astros, and it's 0-0 after 1.
Second, and it's time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag CSNHFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast that is brought to you by AT&T. Colin McHugh facing his hometown team this evening. He moved to Atlanta back in '94. That was in the midst of the Braves dynasty years, and he said that not a fan of Chipper Jones. He was a big 3 guy, watching guys like Maddox, Smoltz, Glavine pitch back in the day, and he says, to be honest, all 3 of them had their own niche, but I definitely pulled things from all 3 of them, took them with me, even though I was young, but things I remember that they would do. And he also said that he's enjoyed watching baseball forever, for as long as he can remember, but when those guys were on the mound, it was different, and it actually turned him into a real baseball fan at a very young age, guys.
Thanks, Julia. There's Evan Gattis banging one fair over the third base bag, and it stays right there by the foul line, and that gives Gattis a chance to get to second base ahead of the throw from L.J. Hose. A double for Gattis, his 8th of the year.
If I was Colin McHugh and I was watching those big 3 pitch, I'd be a big fan of baseball too. You guys were dealing that one right over the edge of the bag, Brownie?
Looking like maybe it was foul.
Yeah, me too, a little bit from that camera angle. Pretty curious to see how the ball just stopped against the wall down there, too. That doesn't normally happen here at Minute Maid.
True. Now the Braves have a man in scoring position for Jason Hayward. Hay pops it up. And here comes Jason Castro back near the screen. Can't make the play on it. Did that come off the screen?
I think it did. Okay. That, and I don't think it was high enough for Castro to actually get back there and make the play. That would have been tough.
He was scrambling. His feet were churning, and that's a very difficult play for a catcher.
Yeah, the way he reacted, reaching back for it.
And strike one. Hayward was 1 for 4 in last night's game. Fouls that one back. No balls, 2 strikes. The Braves have scored 271 runs. And that's 22 runs fewer than the Astros for the season. 256 for Hayward. 8 homers, 29 runs batted in. And that's where they're challenged. They are 4th in ERA in the National League, but they're averaging just 3.6 runs per game. The Astros are averaging 3.8. That's up, and it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. And both are similar in the sense that they're somewhat home run dependent. They're both 4th in their respective leagues in hitting home runs. Neither team hitting well with runners in scoring position. And both striking out a lot. Foul ball back. Justin Upton on deck. The Braves, though, are just 2 games behind Washington in the NL East. They're only 2 games over 500 at 39-37. Freddie Gonzalez club got off to a 17-7 start. Since then, they've gone 22-30. That's chopped to first base, but foul. And when Freddie was the manager of the Marlins, his third base coach was Bo Porter. Greg Walker's the hitting coach. Roger McDowell, the pitching coach. There's the NL East. 5.5 games, top to bottom.
It's good times. Keep it interesting all year long, huh?
Very interesting. You played Monopoly when you were a kid, right?
Yes, still do. Clean house against my daughters.
2 and 2. You know, this year kind of reminds me of when you were playing Monopoly and somebody would come along and pick up the board and pick it up from both sides. And it would sink down in the middle. The standings, every team is just kind of sinking together in those divisions like the NL East right now. Not much separation.
Kind of like the analogy, sinking.
Well,
you know, you'd expect a couple of these teams to play exceedingly well and rise above all the rest, but it seems like everybody is kind of sagging and sneaking back towards that 500 mark.
I was talking with Roger McDowell, the pitching coach, around the batting cage. So you guys are hanging right in the race. He said, it's June. Usually guys in uniform don't really feel there's a race this early. And they're probably right.
And well, you can say, yeah, it doesn't feel like a race until you get into August, September, when things start to even out, or after the All-Star break. I mean, not the All-Star break, but the trade deadline, when you really have a feel of who's being aggressive and going out there and doing things. But at the same time, if you're not in the race towards the end of the season, you can point back to May, April, June, and be like, wow, we were in it right then, but we lost it.
Good point. That's what you don't want to do in October. Bouncer, and here comes VR, a long way to his right, and then throws on the run and gets an excellent play. Had to cover a lot of ground. Gatta's taking third on the ground out by Hayward.
Not an easy play at all for VR. Hayward can run a little bit too.
Yes.
But that kind of that semi-shift, you see him playing behind the pitcher, Colin McHugh, got a range far to his right. Did you see how he rounded around that ball and created that angle towards first base to enable that good strong throw to get Hayward?
Now the infielders will move in some. Now they'll drop back up the middle. And Singleton's playing a step behind the bag at first. Dominguez deep at third, but he could make a play at the plate. Justin Upton, 271, 15 homers, 39 runs batted in. got to give that third baseman a shot at making a play if the ball's hit like a rocket at him. It's a deep drive to right field. That'll get the run home. Springer with the catch. Here's the tag at third. Gaddis waltzes in to make it 1-0 Atlanta. That's RBI number 40 for J-Up, Justin Upton.
Good piece of hitting. That's all you got to do. You got a runner at third base, less than 2 outs. I know that I keep harping on it and talking about it all the time, but those are just gimme RBIs right there if you have the right approach. Get a ball elevated, you can drive to the outfield. And even in that situation, a strong ground ball up the middle to second or short, you got an easy RBI.
Chris Johnson comes up. Chris, former Astro, taking the breaking pitch away for ball 1. 284 is his average. With 3 homers, 21 runs batted in for CJ. Last night he had 2 hits and 4 at-bats. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Well, for many years, Chipper Jones held down third base for the Atlanta Braves. It's 3-0.
Really not that power third baseman you're looking for, though. High average, good hitter. He'll get his RBIs, but really hasn't driven the ball out of the ballpark.
He has plenty of power.
Yeah, he does. I remember taking batting practice when we were here together in Houston, and he would go out the other way easily during batting practice.
Home run high is 15 in 2012. That's a line shot deep to left field. LJ Ho's back on the track. And he glides back for out number 3. 1 run, 1 hit, 1-0 Braves.
In the bottom of the second, I want to tell you about In-Game Live at CSNHouston.com. It's your home for all the stats you need. For example, where a player likes to hit the ball over the field, it shows you the percentages, all that jazz. It's also the place where you can vote for the player of the game. Your top choice is shown on TV afterwards on Astros Postgame Live. That's In-Game Live at CSNHouston.com. All right, time for our Twitter question. Well, with that Sports Illustrated cover featuring the Houston Astros own George Springer and labeling them as 2017 World Series champs, that's some big-time national exposure. So we're wondering what you think about the Astros getting that exposure nationally. Tweet me at HoChenCSN, explain yourself, elaborate, because I'm reading the best tweets on TV. Again, that's HoChenCSN. Guys, over to you.
Thanks, Howard. There's ball 1 to Matt Dominguez, starting the night at 238 with 10 homers, 34 runs batted in, trying to snap an 0 for 19 right now. That is a little bit up, apparently. 2 balls, no strikes. The Astros have some slumping hitters. Robbie Grossman, who is now headed for Oklahoma City, was 0 for his last 25. 0 for 24 rather. It's 3-0. Domingo 0 for 19. Singleton is now 0 for 17. Alex Presley 0 for 12. In for a strike, and it's 3-1. Wood has walked 15 in 61 innings. Last 10 games, the Astros have hit just 196 with just 28 runs and an ERA of 4.45. So they have lost 8 of 10. That's to right field. That'll back up Hayward to the track for out number 1.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to, Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Day game tomorrow, Blummer, 110.
Hot dogs, too.
Oh, yeah. $1 hot dogs. It'll really be a special day for those who like soccer.
Yeah.
USA, Germany, 11 a.m. up on the big video screen, El Grande, right here, all during batting practice. Up to game time tomorrow. Jason Castro, the batter. Jason had a couple of hits last night. There's strike one on a slant to him. He's hitting .222 with 6 homers, 31 runs batted in. So that'll be kind of a doubleheader of sorts. Fans can get here early, watch BP, watch the soccer. Hear about when's that ruling on the suspension coming down? Sometime before Saturday, right?
Yeah, I think they're trying to figure that whole situation out.
What's your best guess on that?
I'd back him down for the entire cup. I mean, if it was his first time, then you could be a little less lenient. But considering he's a multiple bite offender,
yeah,
you need to send a message and let him know that, you know, we don't accept that, especially on the stage they're at right now in the World Cup. I mean, this is a reflection of FIFA and their whole organization.
Yes, it is. That strikeout, number 2 for Wood.
Just a big strike zone tonight, Brown.
Yes, he does. That's balking Bob Davidson behind the plate.
He likes throwing that right hand up in the air. Watch him, he's just itching. That ball looked a little up and away, but he'll pull the flag out of his pocket, throw it up in the air, and then snatch it for that strikeout call.
Some unusual leg action there from Alex Wood. Chris Carter faces him. Towering pop. Freddie Freeman over in the foul ground. That's a quick second inning for Alex Wood with a 1-0 Atlanta lead through 2. Nothing. Top of the third coming. Christy Miller joins us. She has brought all kinds of goodies Forrest Blummer. We've got, look at this.
How can you tell? I don't see anything.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Perfectly normal.
Yeah.
I think so, especially for the weekend we have coming up, at least.
You know, we don't feel weird at all in these, do we?
No.
Do you guys
We're
all?
not on camera, so it's just normal, hanging out.
Pretty much everybody around the
about-
office wearing this into work every day?
I have these in multiple different colors.
Good. You got to accessorize every once in a while. That's a good thing.
Exactly.
They'll come in handy someday. I'm just not sure when. but we'll have them, Christy, for the Orbit Antenna presented by Coca-Cola, Minute Maid, Kroger, this Sunday against Brad Ausmus and the Tigers.
That's right. On Sunday, this whole weekend we're celebrating Orbit's birthday, and we have quite a few different things going on. We'll actually back it up a little bit and start with Friday night. We'll have a special alien-themed Friday night fireworks, of course, presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. So you'll see, of course, another skit from our favorite green creature out there, and all the music from the fireworks will come from different alien-themed movies, so that one will be fun.
Can fans come dressed up as their favorite alien?
I think as long as they don't have masks on, that'll be okay. Masks are frowned upon, but if you have a green furry suit you want to sport to support it, then go right ahead. So I think fans are really getting used to and are always interested in seeing what Orbit will have up his sleeve on every Friday night firework night. So it should be particularly special given that he's celebrating his birthday this weekend. So be sure to stick around after the game for that and see what he's got in store for everyone.
Right, Dome at the batter. Have we had a birthday celebration before for Orbit?
We did. We had his first birthday last year.
How can I forget that?
we had a few folks come out, mostly local mascots. But moving into, we'll go ahead and talk about Sunday itself. Sunday is the actual birthday celebration, and Orbit will have some of his friends from around Major League Baseball come out and support him on his big day. We'll have Dinger from the Colorado Rockies, Raymond from the Tampa Bay Rays, D. Baxter from the Diamondbacks, and then Mr. Met from the Mets come out.
And Orbit actually was in Tampa Bay for, I don't even know what that guy's name is down there in Tampa Bay, but he had his birthday and Orbit got out of the limousine.
Yep.
Yeah,
Raymond is his name, and it's a reciprocal fraternity. He'll then be out this weekend to hang out with Orbit too. So those are coming in from around the league, and then we'll also have some of Houston's zone. We'll have Clutch from the Rockets and Diesel from the Dynamo on hand as well on Sunday to help him celebrate.
That's a dream for Julia Morales. I don't know if you've been catching some of the photos that she's been getting all these selfies with all the mascots, so she's going to be having a good old time during that.
This one's going to have to be kind of Ellen Oscars style, right? With all of them behind her. I want to see if she can pull that one off this weekend. So
it's going to be tough getting that many egos into one picture.
Or just mascot heads in general. Challenge delivered.
Julia has never had this many mascots in one place before.
It'll be a lot of fun. So between the ones from around the league and the ones from here in Houston, it should be a good turnout.
Colin McHugh gets strikeout number 3. What else is going on this
Well, staying on Sunday, talking about all of those guys being here, everyone will have a chance to see them all in one place at one time. From 11:45 a.m. to 12:15 p.m., they will be signing autographs right outside of Squeeze Play. So bring out the kids early, head on over there. You'll get to see all of them sitting in a row, signing autographs for you, and then they'll also all be introduced in our pregame ceremonies, and then you'll see bits and pieces of them activating throughout the stands during the game with Orbit. So that's all on Sunday. Of course, also on Sunday, you get these fabulous antennae that we're wearing on our head right now. I am super excited about this item. Whenever we were thinking about what we wanted to give away in honor of Orbit's birthday, not only the jersey that he was kind of born with that we'll talk about here in a second, but the antenna are just so iconic, we had to figure out a way to give those away. So I'm really interested to see all the kids and adults alike walking around on Sunday with these all over their head.
It's going to be impressive if you get a stadium full of antennae.
Exactly. And so, Brownie, what you've got there now is Orbit's Rainbow BP jersey that he wears Sunday games here. And he was sort of born with it when we did our brand launch, and Orbit was reintroduced for the first time. He was wearing this batting practice jersey, and that will be given away to 10,000 fans on Saturday. All of these items, courtesy of Coca-Cola, Orbit's birthday weekend in itself, or in its entirety, courtesy of Coca-Cola, Kroger, and Minute Maid. So definitely come out. This is one of the best looking jerseys that we have. It's so popular, and to be able to have Orbit and that 00 on it, come out on Saturday to get that, and you'll have the matching antenna on Sunday, and you'll be set and ready to go.
DJ up to the batter after strike out of Simmons, and there's ball one. And the homestand then moves on into next week with Seattle. We've got social media night coming up Tuesday night. What else is going on?
We do. And before we head into this weekend, I have to make sure to mention our next Dollar Hot Dog Thursday prior to going into Orbit's birthday weekend. So that's here tomorrow. So it'll be a day game for that Dollar Hot Dog night. Or Dollar Hot Dog Day, I should call it. Dollar Hot Dog Thursday. So we'll see what that hot dog-ometer brings for us this time. Did you see that one after I mentioned it last time? And
did.
Watch it tally up the engorgement of our fans here on that fabulous Nolan Ryan beef, which I gotta say, again, I'm going to continue to reiterate, these are legitimate hot dogs. This Nolan Ryan beef is so good. For $1, you can't beat it.
Jeff Blum has been starving himself for this day tomorrow.
Yeah.
He did not eat all day today when we had Dollar Hot Dogs.
I'm going to take down Kobayashi tomorrow.
I was going to ask who you're competing with. Brownie, I thought, was going to step up to the plate for a in the booth hot dog eating contest.
Got some droopy antenna.
These actually can serve as earphones as well,
Yep.
For your workout.
Multi-purpose.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Dollar Hot Dogs have become very popular this season, so we're excited to have another one of those days tomorrow before we head into Orbit's birthday. And just really focusing on the birthday weekend this weekend as we head in to finish it up with Seattle next week, and then head into our break here in the 4th of July weekend. So a lot of great stuff going on.
Backhanded. Jonathan VR. We get here at 11 a.m. tomorrow to watch the USA-Germany soccer game up on El Grande.
Gates open at 10:30 for that game at 11, so definitely come cheer on the USA before we take another win.
Thanks, Christy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing Braves.
Lead over the Astros, and LJ Hose comes up to the plate for the first time. We've seen him since being recalled today from AAA Oklahoma City, where he was having a lot of success, hitting around 320, and told me today that he was getting back to the player that he was last season, not the one that was struggling earlier this season. He hit a home run in that very first game, guys, if you remember, on opening day, and from then on, he felt like he needed to be this power hitter. That's not who he is. He went down to AAA, started hitting balls to the right side of the field, and feeling better about the way things are going there, but hoping to bring a spark. They need it in that left field position.
323 is batting average at Oklahoma City, and there's strike one to LJ Hose, returning to the Astros now to try to fill that void in left field that they've been looking for. It's certainly difficult for Robbie Grossman, the way his stay ended after last night's game with a tough night. In left field, the Astros have a 205 combined average, 4 homers, 19 runs batted in, a 309 slugging percentage from all their left fielders combined. There's a line shot, hit well, but caught by Simmons. That's a 7th straight retired by Wood after the leadoff double by Fowler.
Ball hit pretty well, but I like what Julia said about LJ's when he went down to AAA, going the other way. That's the guy that I saw get traded for Bud Norris. When he came over, he was real successful. Just hit the ball the other way. Didn't try and do too much. He knew it was his game plan. Yeah, he's going to turn on a couple pitches if you hang an off-speed pitch middle in. But yeah, I don't think in the long run that LJ Hose is going to be one of those guys that's going to sit out in left field and just lean on that back leg and drive the ball out of the ballpark.
Strike two, Jonathan Villar showing bunt with a .208 batting average, 6 homers, 22 runs batted in. Right-handed side has been his better side for the switch hitter. Fouling that one back. He falls behind, no balls, 2 strikes. With the left fielder hitting down in the order as the Astros have had this year for the most part, if they could just get a good contact season from LJ Hose now from this point forward, that could really help this offense. That's hanging in the air, and Simmons, bare hands, fires to first. That is a spectacular play, and that's what he does.
Quick catch and release, do or die play with VR running. This kid's impressive.
He's straight out of Cirque du Soleil.
I didn't mean to get so quiet, but I just wanted to sit back and enjoy the show a little bit. Charging in. That's not easy to do. I mean, it's one thing at third base when you have that ball rolling on the ground. You can see even he's pumped about the play he just made, which is good to see.
Yeah. Dexter Fowler looks at the breaking pitch. There's strike one. He opened the game with a double and then mistakenly tried to take third on a ground ball by Altuve right to the shortstop Simmons. That made an easy out, number one, and the Astros could not get anything going after that in the first inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rule of thumb for the base runner is make the ball be to the left of the shortstop, up the middle before you try for third in that instance there.
And that ball was hit well, and actually Dexter Fowler did make it be on the right or his left-hand side, but the way that, as hard as that ball was hit, really had no shot.
Jose Altuve on deck. The Astros put out the update on Carlos Correa today. Fractured fibula. Sidelined for the rest of the year. He had surgery today from Dr. Kevin Varner at the Methodist Hospital in Houston. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He was expected to make a full recovery in time for 2015.
It's disappointing news to hear that he got hurt. It was a lot of fun reading the updates on Carlos Correa.
Ground ball at third. Johnson with the throw low, and Freeman digs it out. In the third, it goes quickly, and Wood has a 1-0 lead.
It's 1-0 Braves as we to the 4th. And Comcast Business taking us inside the game as we look at Colin McHugh, who's hasn't really felt good about the way things have been going the past few starts, but he's getting back to the way he was in that last start, feeling better about his command. He hasn't been going as deep into games as we're used to seeing Colin go, and you can see the average pitches up for each inning that he's pitched, up all the way to 19 here recently. But looking better today in that first inning, he only needed 10 pitches, and 9 of those were strikes. He's at 42 pitches through 3 innings, about a 14 pitch average. Already looking better today, guys, and he's actually changing a few things as far as grips go, including on his changeup, something I'll toss up to you with. He just looking for more control in that pitch. He's throwing more of a split change than a change there. So just hoping to improve his command and get those pitch counts down.
That was strike 1 to Tommy La Stella. Now it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. La Stella lined out to left in the first inning. Just 1 hit for the Braves. A Gaddis double. He scored on a Justin Upton sac fly. As McHugh shoots for win number 5 of the year. Snaps off a curve for a 1-ball, 2-strike count on La Stella.
Well, high strikeout guys, and Colin McHugh's turned into that guy. Throw a lot of pitches. Takes 3 pitches to strike a guy out. Usually you've got to set him up a little bit. Not too often do you have that 1-2-3 punch out, so he's got to throw a lot of pitches in that sense. But if you look at all of his starts, in 9 of the 12 he's had 2 or more walks. So between the walks and the strikeouts, there's a lot of pitches being thrown by that young man.
He's worked his way through a blister problem on the middle finger of his pitching hand. Bouncing that one, it goes to 3 balls, 2 strikes. Been quite a find for the Astros, who claimed Colin McHugh on waivers from the Rockies in December. He was 0-8 with an 8.94 ERA in the big leagues when he joined the Astros. Now there's a leadoff walk, and La Stella is aboard for Freeman. Freddie Freeman struck out in the first inning. And Gaddis will be on deck. Braves have been outscored by their opponents by 13 runs for the season. But they're 2 games over 500. Infield shifts around. And then strike 1 for Colin McHugh. Colin pitched with the Mets last year. Now, you talked about his gain in the velocities on his pitches. They're all up about 2 miles per hour since a year ago. Two.
That'll be the next thing we have to ask Julia to figure out, is where he gained those 2 miles an hour. Because it's been pretty effective. He's been able to pitch up in that strike zone, which is one of the things that we've heard Brent Strom talk about, is, you know, pitching in the top part of that strike zone. And if you've got good heat on that fastball, you can get away with it.
Yes. 1-2. And at the direction of Brent Strom, he's changed his style a little bit. The batting average against him, a low 192. That's 5th best in the majors.
It's a good list to be on.
He gets a punch out on Freeman. That's number 5. And he was sinking the ball more last year than he is this time around.
Yeah, that ball right there just has a little bit of run. He actually missed his spot, but you make Freddie Freeman take swings like that, you're doing something right.
He's an outstanding hitter, isn't he?
Yeah. Good power, high average. A little befuddled.
Evan Gaddis doubled and scored in the 2nd inning. There's strike 1. Gaddis recently had a 20-game hitting streak. Hitting .355 in the month of June. Really one of the offensive leaders on this Braves club. He was on base in 25 games in a row, and that came to a halt last night when he went 0 for 4. Foul back, and it's 0-2. Good ball game last night. Atlanta won at 3-2. Houston had the edge in hits 8-6. Pitchers did well in that game, and it was a frustrating night for the offensive players. Astros stranded 10. Freddie Gonzalez hoping that before his club moves on to Philadelphia, something good might have started with last night's win. Gaddis is down on strikes. That's number 6.
There's your 3-pitch strikeout.
Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
That curve is just lethal, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a big hammer. I feel like you see that so long as a hitter, and by the time you can see starting here and it's finishing here, and it's tough to square up when it's coming down on that angle.
That describes it pretty well. Jason Hayward grounded to VR at shortstop. Braves went to Washington before they came here. They won the first 2 of a 4-game series. Then they lost the 3rd and 4th games. Right to Hayward. No hitter today for Tim Lincecum of the Giants. 4-0 over the Padres. 3rd no-hitter of the Major League season. That was his 2nd no-hitter against San Diego in his career. 2nd in less than a year. There was only 1 base runner on a walk. He struck out 6. Runner takes off. Here's Castro's throw, and VR doesn't catch it. Well, Listella's in at second base. He was trying to be very quick. The throw was a little high. He was trying to snap that tag down very quickly, and Listella's in.
Exactly, and I think that's why he tried to kind of snatch that one and bring that tag down in a hurry. There might have been a chance if that ball's on line, but VR trying to make up for that throw being offline just a little too quick.
Second steal for Listella in as many tries. Braves are 41 for 51 in steals. Good percentage, but they're 11th in the National League in the number of steals. It's in tight to Hayward. Special moment for a pitcher.
Things are not going well for the San Diego Padres organization at all. Tony Gwynn passing away, firing their general manager, and now second no-hitter from the same guy in less than a year.
Swing and a miss by Hayward. 2-2.
There's some things to iron out down in San Diego.
Bad. Did you see the standing ovation the Phillies fans gave Tony Gwynn Jr.?
Yeah, that was nice. Can't imagine trying to do what he's doing right now.
Hayward looks at it. It's 3-2.
Now the entire league and fans are mourning the loss of an icon. He's mourning the loss of a father.
Yeah. And nice to see that a couple of players, including Steven Strasburg, now have decided to give up the smokeless tobacco.
Well, I keep yelling at one of the guys that we work with, Steve Sparks.
Okay.
He's been doing it, he said, for about 20-plus years. It's a tough habit to kick, and I understand that. But could have an effect on you in the long run.
Well, maybe we'll have to kidnap him.
Hey.
There's a walk to Hayward, second of the inning.
No, it's just too bad that something like that has to happen to somebody to bring it to light. But good for those guys for making the adjustment and bringing it to the public's attention.
Yes, some
of the younger ball players will learn from that.
Yeah. And these guys, you know, Strasburg is so young, and another player who played, I believe, at San Diego State for Tony, and so
sure did.
They certainly have time to prevent that kind of damage to their bodies. 271 for Justin Upton. If we do kidnap Sparky, what do we do with him?
It would put an orbit antenna on it.
Okay. I'll take care of it.
We'll distract him that way.
Strike to Upton.
I'm going to steal his notes. That's what I'm going to do if we tie him up.
His notes are very detailed.
Man, he does a great job. And he's actually nice enough to forward me some of the pitching notes that he has.
Liner caught by VR. That was stung, but it's out number 3. No runs, no hits. 2 men left. 1-0 Braves in the 4th.
trailing to the Braves 1-0. Astros, Dynamo, Rockets, and more. We have all your sports news covered. Check out Sportsnet Central every night at 6, 10, and midnight on Comcast Sportsnet. Guys.
Thanks, Julia. Look forward to that each night. And maybe a little soccer talk. You getting into soccer, Blummer?
You know what? I've got the bug. I've got to admit. I'm not normally a fan. I don't follow Premier Leagues or MLS. But when that World Cup comes around, I'll make some time and sit down and watch some of those matches. They've been pretty enjoyable to watch, actually.
Well, again, we issue the invitation for all fans coming out tomorrow for the 1:10 start. Get here at 11. Soccer game, USA, Germany.
You and I are going to be here.
We will be watching.
Yeah.
Jose Altuve is 0 for 1. He bounced into that play at third base. Now a looping fly ball to left field, and Justin Upton's there.
Inside the Lines is brought to you by Scotch Blue Painter's Tape. Scotch Blue, see what you can do. Let's see what George Springer is doing in comparison to some other youngsters throughout the major leagues. We know he can drive the ball deep into the ninth, but here's some comparisons through the first 59 games of their careers. You've got Mike Trout in the middle, Giancarlo Stanton on the right. How about that? Average a little bit higher for Trout, but similar power numbers and RBI numbers between George Springer and Giancarlo Stanton.
Strike one to Springer. Singleton on deck.
How about the OPS on Trout? 574. Come on, kid.
He left room for improvement there.
And he improved on that greatly.
0-2. Well, now what is Trout going to do for the rest of his life?
Yeah, he set that bar a little high, didn't he? My goodness.
Where does he go from here? Well, he could be an MVP. He's finished second twice, right? So.
Yeah, you got to get over that hump.
Springer's off balance and strikes out. That's number 3. We're just mowing down the Astros here. He'll move along to John Singleton next. Wood getting this opportunity now to move back into the rotation because of Gavin Floyd's surgery, which was to have been today. He had a broken bone in his right elbow after he had undergone Tommy John surgery a year ago, so it's a real tough stretch for Gavin Floyd. He had filled one of those spots in the rotation very well. But Wood, who had been in the pen, then was sent back down to AAA Gwinnett to stretch it out. So that's worked out well for the Braves. He was to have had one more start at AAA, but because of this injury to Floyd, he's up and he can throw maybe 100 pitches tonight if he stays on that plan he was on.
He's scared to death to put on a Braves uniform and jump on the hill.
Exactly.
My goodness.
Tough year for injuries. Nice crack to center field. And that one's going to go for Singleton for extra bases up on the edge of Towles Hill. He's going to go to third base, and that ball's stuck in the padding, and he's going to circle the bases and then let the umpires figure it out. So it's stuck at the bottom of the wall in that padding, but what is the umpire going to rule? He's going to rule double.
That's too bad. Talk about bad hops. More often than not, you're going to see him in the infield, but that was a bad hop out in center field, the way that ball stuck up underneath the wall. And the umpire has to make that call. There's edges underneath these padded walls around all the major leagues. And if it does get stuck in there, B.J. Upton has every right to raise those hands. Those ground rules are gone over before the game starts. That ball just nudged itself on up underneath there. Because I thought that would have been an easy triple for John Singleton.
It would have been. He settled for his third double. And he snaps an 0 for 17 in the process. And in order to get that call, the fielder really has to do that, doesn't he? Put his hands up in the air for the umpire.
Yeah, you got to let him know early. But a good move by Singleton just to continue to run just in case that BJ didn't get the call.
Strike one to Matt. Dominguez hit a fly ball pretty deep to right on a 3-1 pitch the first time up. Singleton on with his third double of the year, gets hit number 2 for the Astros. He snapped an 0 for 17. Dominguez is trying to snap an 0 for 20. Astro on deck. Ground ball to short. Simmons To end the fourth with no runs ahead and a man left. 1-0 Braves through 4.
Take a look down there and see what some of these boys are doing. Tony Kemp, he's been promoted to Corpus Christi AA today. Led the California League in on-base percentage and runs. He was third in batting average, having himself a good time. Ex-college teammate Conrad Greger, he has been promoted to Lancaster from Quad Cities. He's doing quite well. Also, 393 average with well over 1,000 OPS. Not bad 4th and 5th round picks.
Very impressive stuff. They are on the move. And it appeared that Carlos Correa would have been on his way to Corpus Christi as well, if not for the unfortunate injury.
And even though that injury's put him out for the season, I really don't think that adjusts or pushes back his clock, so to speak. I still think he can get back on schedule. He's going to play some fall ball, maybe some winter ball. But the way he swings the bat, and as good as he is, I think he's going to speed his own clock up with this play.
To agree with you there. Chris Johnson, the batter, he hit a fly ball to left in the first inning. Braves have 1 hit. The Astros have 2. All 3 hits in the game have been doubles. There is ball 1. .371 on balls in play for Chris Johnson. 1 ball, 1 strike. So the experts would tell you that that's a little high. It's definitely on the high side. So if he plays more, if he gets in the normal complement of at-bats in a major league season, he's probably not going to hit for this high batting average of .284.
I was a player and I read that number. I'd be swinging at everything trying to put it in play. Just doesn't translate too often, does it?
1 or 2. Well, answer this. You have years when hits just seem to fall at a better rate, right?
Yes.
And there's no real explanation for that?
No. Just luck. Baseball gods are smiling on you.
It does happen.
And this, I mean, we've talked about it several times before, and I know that, Brownie. You know, how often do the hard hit balls get made up for with the, you know, the broken bat singles or the drop shots that fall, you know, the seeing eye ground balls? It never evens out.
Yeah. 3 and 2. You've seen guys win batting titles, and they just seem to have, you know, all those looping hits just over the infield. And it's your year. It happens, right?
Yeah, and you see those guys get into those 2-strike counts, and they just, you know, they'll flail at a pitch, get blown up. You know, barrel goes into the stands, but the ball ends up right in front of a fielder. Plenty of green grass out there. It's not.
Maybe some other year you're lining out the left fielders all year long.
Remember Freddie Sanchez?
Yeah.
Second baseman, I think, for the Pittsburgh Pirates that year. Did he win the batting title?
I think he did. Yeah.
It felt like no matter where we stood, what pitch we threw at him, it was going to find a hole no matter what.
We're going to look him up because he never had another year close to that, right?
And that's what you're talking about. It was just all of a sudden for that 1 year, the stars were aligned. Whatever you want to say it was, everything worked out for him.
Yeah, that's a pretty good case in point. Dahmet with the broken bat. And here's VR playing on one bounce from the outfield grass. That's pretty impressive stuff. 2 outs. Now Simmons comes up. Simmons struck out in the 3rd inning. He is an absolute wizard with the glove. Now what's he going to hit? And 254 coming into this. 253 right now. He does have some pop. But usually the way he's hitting right now, anything above this would be considered a bonus, right?
Yeah, and we also heard that he's trying to work on going the other way. So there may be some adjustments in that swing that he's working through. And again, he's another young kid working through it at the top level.
Dominguez with a dive, and he throws him out. He Simmonsed him, and it's 1-0 Braves in the 5th. Comcast Sportsnet's presentation of Houston Astros baseball is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. 5 Hour Energy recognizes those who, despite their own needs, put others first. Braves 1, Astros nothing. Bottom of the 5th coming. Alex Wood has settled into a nice groove. He's just given up 2 hits, doubles. Fowler led off with a double in the home 1st inning, and then Singleton had the 2-out double in the 4th inning. Now it's Castro coming up in the home 5th. He struck out in the 2nd inning. Castro has hit lefties better than right-handed pitching so far this year. There is ball 1 to Jason. Got a couple days off other than pinch hitting. He was banged up from a foul ball hit off his leg in the Tampa Bay series. And then Monday was a scheduled off day. This one goes to left. Justin Upton. 1 out for Wood. We were looking up Freddie Sanchez. Good case in point. Blummer. He hit .344 to win the batting title in the National League in 2006 with Pittsburgh. And his next highest batting average in a season was the next year. He hit .304. And for his 10-year career, he was a .297 hitter. So that was just his year.
Good 50-point jump almost.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Chris Carter pitched ball 1. Let's see what he hit the year before that. .291. So who could have seen that coming?
I didn't. mean, I appreciate the 291. You know, I would have been pretty happy with that, but to have him jump up and just attack the National League at 344.
Ball in the hole. Chris Johnson. And he throws him out. Simmons was diving to his right behind Johnson. That was interesting. He's picking himself up off the outfield grass right now.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, obviously, Andrelton didn't feel that CJ was going to make that play, but CJ went out nicely and extended that left arm to catch that ball. But as a shortstop, kind of gets stuck. Do I dive? Do I not? And just kind of go ahead and follow through with the dive.
Yeah. Jay Hose with ball one. Now here's the question: if that ball had gone through and he dives, does he get it? He might.
He might. Yeah. Chris Carter definitely could have a chance.
Could. Fly ball to right center field. Hayward over. Hayward with the catch. That's a quick fifth inning for Wood. And he's under 50 pitches for the night through 5 innings and leading 1-0.
Rewind. Man on the mound, Colin McHugh, doing his thing. Doing a great job throwing a multitude of pitches. Got a good high fastball, setting up the breaking ball. Really has a hammer working today. When you get the swings from Freddie Freeman and you're striking out Evan Gattis, considering the streaks that they've been on, you're doing something right. Doing a good job of deception. The unfortunate part about that is he's throwing a lot of pitches. As you see the distribution of outs. 7 Ks, right on track for what he's been doing all season.
He gets ready for the 6th inning. The top of the order will be coming up. B.J. Upton, Listella, and Freeman. With the Braves leading 1-0. They have just one hit. A leadoff double in the second by Evan Gattis off McHugh. Bunted, and this is pushed up the first base line. It trickles foul.
Put your thinking cap back on?
Yes, I did.
It's good to hear.
You could think our way through a game like this.
Hey, a little extra help never hurt.
The Braves have swung at 40 pitches. Astros hitters have swung at 20 pitches so far tonight. So what do you make of that?
Well, selectivity. I think that the Braves are aggressive in the zone. And we've seen the Astros, and we've heard about their approach trying to take more pitches, get deeper into counts. But sometimes that leads to you being behind in some of the counts and having to defend a little bit more, as opposed to the Braves going out there and picking on a pitch in the strike zone early to attack. They don't want to let those called strikes go by. They want to make sure they're swinging strikes if they're going after them. But it's a couple different approaches going at the baseball tonight.
Yes, it is. Outside 1 and 2. B.J. Upton was moved back into the leadoff spot for last night's game by Freddie Gonzalez, just on a hunch. The numbers wouldn't seem to indicate that he should be the leadoff guy. It worked out last night for a win. And he homered. This grounder goes foul. Sometimes it's a way to get a guy started if he's been slumping. You know, just to give him the feeling that the manager has confidence in him.
Maybe get him an extra at bat every game too.
That could be it.
And you're really, as a manager, really willing this guy to get going if you're going to give him 5 ABs a game with the 200 average.
He was way outside. Colin looking down at his hand.
A la Bud Norris.
2-2.
And you know what? We've seen that in the last couple starts from Colin McHugh. There'll be one pitch a game where he just absolutely airmails. Not sure why. Maybe a little lingering issue with that blister, maybe.
Could be. He has been reporting that things are much, much better. That's tap foul. Tigers lead at Texas 5-0 in the fourth. Just a little bit more than a bit outside.
Bob Uecker would have loved that one.
Oh, yeah. That's flicked in the air near the right field line. Singleton over into foul ground. One out. At Detroit club, and Brad Ausmus, the manager this year, former Astro catcher, will be coming in here for the weekend series. Friday, Saturday, Sunday games with the Tigers and the Astros. It's part of a very challenging homestand for the Astros, facing the club in the Braves, who are right in the thick of things, 2 games out in the NL East. Detroit Tigers are atop the AL Central. And then Seattle. Seattle has the best record in the majors in June, 15-8. Tommy Listella, the batter. That's strike one. He went. It's 0-2 to Listella. McHugh had quite a debut in Seattle with the Astros back in April, striking out 12 in 6 2/3 shutout innings. He won that one 5-2, and that really got him going with Houston. This is start number 12 of the year for him with the Astros. He has been just a big find for them.
A big find for him.
It has been.
Got to be pretty excited with how he's done this year. He's just going to be up for that one start, but he's established himself in this rotation.
That's a strikeout looking. That's 8. Watch out.
Good pitch, working well with Bob Davidson. Looked like it crept a little bit over that outside corner.
Now Freeman, he has whiffed twice. The Tigers club is trying to go 10 games over 500 for this season. Strike one. Kansas City overtook Detroit for a while there. Now the Royals have been backsliding lately. A lot of trade rumors out there right now.
I saw something out there on Twitter, which is always right.
Yeah.
That Arizona might be looking to get rid of some of the guys on their roster.
Okay. That could fall in, and there's nobody there to prevent it from falling in. And Freeman's going to second. Here's Dominguez with a throw. The ball there early. VR with a tag, and they get him down. It's a single, and then he's gone down from 5 to 6. No runs, a hit, nobody left. Middle of the 6th inning. 1-0 Braves.
Of the 6, it's 1-0 Braves leading the Astros, and progressive fan of the game today is going to be Bracy, who works at Minute Maid Park, part of the security crew here, and rocking a fanny pack. You know what? Bracy has my back, which is why he is my fan of the game today. Because I came and found you. You had my back yesterday. Yesterday you said, don't let them make fun of you for wearing a fanny pack, because you wear one.
Fun of you. I think it was in Tampa Bay. They were making fun of you, and I didn't like that.
You didn't like that? Okay, well, what do you keep in your fanny pack?
Yes. All kind of good stuff, like chewing gum, my cell phone, my paperwork, all kinds of stuff.
Well, keep rocking it for
it's
me.
It's real convenient.
Exactly. See, guys? Thank you, Chris.
All right, thank you.
Ground ball to third by Jonathan Villar. Chris Johnson takes care of it. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning, and Alex Wood is mowing down Astros. There's the famous fanny pack.
Now see, Julia is sacrificing fashion for utility.
Yeah.
But what I like about the fan of the game that has fanny pack, it kind of coordinated. It blended into the outfit. Julia chose the black fanny pack with the white outfit. She really wanted that thing to stand out, I feel.
What are you talking about, sacrificing fashion? That is fashion in 95.
Yeah, that's right. Right in style.
Surprised it wasn't lime green or something.
No.
Oh, then you would have had a fashion piece right there.
Rihanna wears them.
Ooh.
Yeah.
She's probably got $13,000 Louis Vuitton fanny pack.
Dexter Fowler has a 1-1 count. He had the double to right center and then was thrown out trying to go to third base on a grounder to short. And in the 3rd inning, he bounced out. It's 2-1. Well, Julia has probably heard of Leisure Suits, right? Maybe not.
Yeah, I think you're dating us on that one, Brownie.
We won't get into that. There was somebody who once wore a lime green leisure suit, so if you want to talk lime green. It would have gone perfectly with this ensemble.
Wait, are we saying this isn't fashionable either?
Oh, it is.
Okay.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
Especially when
I get points there.
Hurricane whips through and the lights go out.
3-2.
I deserve that.
Hey, if anybody can rock it, it's you, Julia.
Thank you.
Julia, are you going to be in charge of our traveling group having a theme road trip?
Why not? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, can we all wear lime green?
Yes.
There we go.
That's a must. Fowler works a walk. That's the first one of those from Mr. Wood. Will Porter has only his 3rd base runner of the night. Jose Altuve, the batter, he's 0 for 2. Fowler has 6 steals in 9 attempts. Wood gave up the steal to Altuve in the 1st. There have been 3 steals in 5 tries with Wood on the mound. Gaddis has not thrown out a high percentage of base stealers this year, but Astros have not had much traffic. We'll see how daring Fowler would be here. Snap throw to first. That's a good move. Doesn't telegraph it. He just, without stepping, throws over. Guys who really vary their throws to first base must be a lot tougher for base runners, Plummer.
Yeah, left-handed pitchers have the ability to do that. Obviously, right-handers have to turn all the way around to make that throw, but that's a huge asset for a left-handed pitcher. Is that something you, as a base runner, you got to watch him as you're leading off, because he could snap throw when you're trying to extend your lead and catch you in between steps, create some issues.
Yeah.
But varying the looks, varying the actual pickoff move, those are all ploys to keep you from running. And it's a weapon to get an out in case you need it too.
Yes. Altuve expanded his strike zone a little bit there. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
You got to watch Andy Pettit over here with the Houston Astros. Had a great pickoff move.
Yes,
he was one of those lefties that would raise that right leg and just kind of linger there and see where the runner was going and then pick him off as soon as he caught him leaning.
That's got to be the toughest.
Oh, yeah.
For a base runner. Ball, and Simmons charging to his right. Fires on to second base for the force play to La Stella. 2 outs.
Some quick hands. This ball not hit very hard. Dexter Fowler can run, but watch how quick this ball is out of Simmons' hands. In a direct strike into La Stella's chest.
Footwork is perfect. Allowed him to unload quickly. Now George Springer, he struck out both times tonight. Wood started the year in the rotation. He was 2-5 with an ERA of 3. Then he went to the bullpen. Ground ball, and Simmons lays out for it. It's by him and on through into left center field. Altuve turns and goes to third on the single by Springer. And his first and third 2 outs. Hit number 3 for the Astros.
It's good to see him going back up the middle of the shift. Little mini shift going on with Simmons playing towards that 5.5 hole. But you don't have to rip the ball out of the ballpark to get a hit every time. Sometimes just hitting a nice firm ground ball through the infield works. Get a chance to look back at some of those numbers and see the comparisons between 3 young stars in baseball. I think that's real interesting to look at. His power number is identical to Giancarlo Stanton. Those guys are leading the way as far as potential MVPs on the right-hand side. George Springer just making an appearance on the scene, but I like that.
Now it's Singleton batting. He doubled deep to right center field in the 4th. It got wedged underneath the padding in the wall. That's strike 1 for Wood. Astros are 10-16 when a left-hander starts against them. Wood had 11 starts last year with the Braves and 20 relief appearances. Good numbers for the season a year ago. It's 0-2. Dominguez on deck. One ball, 2 strikes. Gaddis has taken over from Brian McCann this year as the mainstay behind the plate, working with this Braves pitching staff. A lot of people thought without Tim Hudson, who was with Atlanta last year, and McCann, the Braves would really be also Rans this year. Soft foul pop. They picked up Urban Santana to join their rotation, and he, according to reports, had set a huge price tag on his services as a free agent. But they signed him on a 1-year deal for $14.1 million, and that has really helped their rotation.
And that was a bit of a desperation move.
Yes.
Big injuries to a couple of their starters. They had to do something. They didn't expect Aaron Harang to do what he did early on.
He's really helped. Foul ball. They've lost Brandon Beachy and Chris Medlin, 2 very good pitchers, to Tommy John surgery this year.
I thought that was a great sign by the San Francisco Giants picking up Tim Hudson.
There's the list.
My goodness. We forget about Venters.
Yes.
Left-handed setup guy for Kimbrel out there. It's a huge piece of their bullpen, too.
It is. 4 Tommy John surgeries on that list. And a strikeout here for Wood. No runs, 1 hit. He gets strikeout number 4, leaves 2 men on, and still leads 1-0.
1. Bring the whole family out every Sunday home game at Minute Maid Park this season for Family Sundays presented by Kroger. Make sure to take advantage of the Kroger Family 4-pack of tickets for only $70 this Sunday against the Tigers. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com.
Tigers are in at 110 on Sunday, and let's see, the Astros pitcher on Sunday is Scott Feldman. Tigers have not yet announced their rotation for that 3-game series. Colin McHugh trailing 1-0, moves to the 7th inning. Evan Gattis will be first up for the Braves. He doubled and scored the only run back in the 2nd inning. He struck out of the 4th. I believe Max Scherzer is going to pitch one of those games this weekend for Detroit. Not sure about Verlander. They had a day off, so we're not being told yet what the rotation is for the weekend for Detroit. Grant Ausmus doesn't want us to know anything about his team.
Well, it seems to be an ongoing theme here. A lot of secrecy.
Oakland leads the Mets 8-3. They're in the bottom of the 8th at New York. Brad Mills started and pitched well for Oakland. 3 earned runs in 6 1/3 innings. Oakland traded for him. They paid $1 to get Brad Mills.
Excuse me? I thought it was a deal getting Evan Gattis for a $1,000 signing bonus.
Is that what he got?
Yeah, he telling me he got traded. How do you get traded for $1?
I don't know. We need to investigate that.
Oh, goodness, deal of the century.
Yes. Ground ball 3rd. He rolled over on that one. Hit it to Matt Dominguez. And he retired Gattis for out number 1. The paid attendance tonight is 20,559. Day game tomorrow at 1:10. And we hope you'll come out early and see that soccer game, USA and Germany on El Grande. It's going to be Jared Cozart tomorrow against lefty Mike Minor. 1:10 start, and Friday night at 7:10, Brad Peacock against Detroit. Hayward is 0 for 1 with a walk. Now back to strike 1. Peacock been a little bit banged up lately, but he's going to give him his time to get ready. Feeling good again to rejoin the rotation. Meanwhile, Jake Buchanan is in the bullpen now. That's a strike, and it's 0-2. Anthony Bass had a rehab appearance with Quad Cities last night. 1 scoreless inning. Trying to work his way back to the Astros bullpen. 1-2. Asher Wojciechowski now has been activated from the 15-day disabled list, and he was optioned to Oklahoma City following last night's game. Two balls, 2 strikes. Tony Kemp did so well at Class A Lancaster. He's now with AA Corpus Christi. He hit .336 in 72 games with a .433 on base average. He will replace Nolan Fontana there as middle infielder. Hit by the pitch. Hayward unable to get out of the way of that one, and he's on with 1 out.
It's the second time we've seen Colin McHugh miss to that side of the plate.
Yep.
Pretty drastically. No intention behind this. He just yanked that one pretty hard.
Yep.
Tell by his reaction.
Yep, he is not pleased with that delivery. 94 pitches into the game. Colin McHugh has Hayward on at first with 1 out, and Justin Upton's the batter. Upton hit the sac fly to right field in the 2nd, scoring Gattis, and then lined out with 2 men aboard to end the top of the 4th. Hayward is a pretty good base stealer. He's 9 for 12 this year.
See how he does with that baseball in his hamstring. He's a big kid.
He is. Very well put together. Tremendous athlete. And it's ball 1. Hayward was hit in the face with a pitch last year, and he continues to wear that special batting helmet to protect him. What's the patch for, Plummer?
I think it's 715 on there. It can only mean one thing.
40th anniversary. Hank Aaron's record-breaking 715 call. That was celebrated earlier this year on that exact date in Atlanta. Off Al Downing.
Pretty cool.
We were looking at a graphic of home run distances before the game. That curveball misses. 2 of them. We were talking about Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron was not one of those tape measure home run hitters. He hit those fence scrapers quite often, but
he hit a ton of them too.
He hit 715. So which would you rather have?
I think I'm going to take the numbers over the distance.
Okay. In for a strike, and it's 2. What's the longest home run you can remember that you've ever seen?
That I've ever seen?
Yeah, in person.
I think I was here. And I want to say I was playing third base. The Cubs were in town, and Sammy Sosa.
Oh, yeah. He hit that one off the lights.
He hit it off that. It was it was still going up, and it went into the lights. It didn't hit the lights. It went into the lights.
It was like the natural.
Yeah. And that was mind-boggling that I saw that happen in a game. It blew me away that a human being could hit a ball that far.
Now, how far do you think that ball would have gone if it had not hit those lights up there?
Well, out behind the wall, isn't that where the Biggio Bagwell statues are?
Yeah.
I think it would have landed right in between those two, about 550 feet away. It was incredible.
It really was a shot. Remember. Now 3 balls and a strike to Justin Upton.
I also remember Tony Clark. Remember when they had the signs in between the 2 standards out there?
Yes.
And it was a day game, and it was extremely bright for whatever reason. But I just remember hearing the sound of the bat, and everybody kind of looked up. We didn't know where it went. And all you heard was this bong. And it was a home run because it hit that sign.
Yeah. This is a drive to right center field, headed for the Astros bullpen. And that one is a no-doubter. A 2-run shot by Upton. It's 3-0 Braves. Number 16 for Justin Upton. And that's 2 in 2 games in this series for J-Up.
J-Up's one of those guys who can drive the ball way out of the ballpark. Proving it right here, doing a great job. Almost out to where Springer launched his, but the man can barrel up a baseball. Oh, goodness. Doesn't even take a full swing. He just literally almost punches at it. But he is some kind of strong.
Well, Kyle Farnsworth begins to throw in that bullpen where the ball landed. 3-0, and it's Chris Johnson. Foul ball, strike 1. There's Farnsworth getting loose. Now, that was a good replay on that kind of power that Upton has in his swing. Now, how about the follow-through after you've made contact? He didn't have much of a follow-through, as you pointed out, so it's not important.
Some guys, I guess it isn't. I know I had to put everything into it and finish strong, but Justin Upton, a lot of it's all that energy that's created at the contact point and getting to that contact point. He creates so much strength into that contact point. Once that ball is off his bat, it doesn't matter what he does afterwards.
Curveball makes it 1-2.
And watch how direct he is to it, and as soon as that contact, the ball absolutely jumps off his bat.
He has now hit 151 homers in his career. Chop to third. Dominguez makes the long throw over to a stretching Singleton. 2 outs. Now the Upton brothers, who both homered in the game last night, to tie a major league record. That's the 4th time brothers have hit homers in the same game. And there are only one other set of brothers, and that was the Boyer brothers, Ken and Clete, who did that and each have hit 130 or more. Ken hit 282 and Cleet hit 162. Right now, Justin Upton has 151. BJ Upton 134 home.
Not too shabby.
So they're among the top brother home run producers. Of course, you could say, what about Hank and Tommy Aaron? Tommy didn't hit many. There's strike one to Domer.
Didn't have to in that combination.
We're going to look on Tommy Aaron, see how many he had. No balls, 2 strikes. Field shifted around on Domer, the former Pittsburgh Pirate, Minnesota Twin. And a swing and a miss will end it here in the top of the 7th inning. The Braves get 2 on 1 hit, and they lead it 3-0.
To nothing, and fans, follow every Astros game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv, game of the day, and more. Download it through your device's app store or visit Astros.com today. Look back to the 2007 draft as Matt Dominguez comes to the plate. You see he was the 12th pick of that 2007 draft. Some pretty good ball players taking him out. He was actually 2 picks ahead of Atlanta Brave right fielder Jason Hayward.
Kevin Mesoraco is 15th. He has homered in 5 consecutive games.
Oh, not too bad. Last catcher to do that was Johnny Bench.
Oh, snap. 3-0 Braves. Alex Wood delivers, and there's ball 1 to Matt Dominguez. Matt is 0 for 2 tonight. Astros have been shut out on 3 hits through 6 by Wood, 2 doubles and a single. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. White Sox and Orioles are in the middle of the 9th. They're tied at 4 in Baltimore. Jose Abreu hit his 23rd home run. That's a strike, 1 and 2, and Nelson Cruz belts at number 24. Shea Simmons is warming up in the Braves bullpen. Ground ball third goes foul.
I'm looking forward to seeing that Abreu kid in person.
Yes.
Looks like a beast on TV.
First time opposite field power. There's Shea Simmons. Eddie Perez, longtime Braves backup catcher, is the bullpen coach.
That guy could impart some knowledge down there in that bullpen, I'm sure.
You bet. Well, those Braves catchers, you guys have taught the Hall of Famers. Knew so much.
Didn't he turn into Greg Maddox's personal catcher?
He did. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Alex Wood shooting for win number 6 of the season. His ERA at game time is 3.43. look very sharp tonight. Bouncer back to Wood. One down. And the Astros, who have been shut out 9 times, are searching for the offensive formula here. Jason Castro has struck out and flied to left.
How about the last time? Well, there was this. I'm sorry. Odorizzi shut him out on that road trip in Tampa Bay. They were shut out 2 games.
Yes, they were.
In that Tampa Bay series.
It's been a rough stretch for them. They've averaged 2.5 runs per game in their last 8 games.
Ouch.
Strike to Castro. It's tough to win with that.
Puts a lot of pressure on that pitching staff.
Carter's on deck. No balls, 2 strikes. Wood has thrown a low pitch total of 75. 6 1/3.
Not too sure he's been behind too many of these Astro hitters. Talked about him taking a lot of pitches. But Alex Wood has done a great job of jumping ahead and having a lot of 2-strike counts.
It's a liner to right, and Hayward is there. 2 outs. He got a good jump. Not that it was necessary, but he is an excellent outfielder who can move over to center, and that's not a problem. And he has 6 outfield assists this year. Makes some diving plays. Carter up next. Hayward has 165 putouts in right field. He's second in the majors. Showing you that range that he brings to that position. Strike 1 to Carter with L.J. Hose on deck.
We've got a piece of Gaddis. Home plate umpire Bob Davidson going to take a nice stroll out, talk to Alex Wood, give Gaddis a chance to regroup a little bit, shake that thing out. Common courtesy between umpire and catcher.
Now, Blummer, you were the emergency catcher for the Astros, right?
Yes.
Did you ever catch in a big league game?
Fortunately, no. I had suited up and put the gear on and been on the top step several times, but.
Really?
Yeah.
What caused that to happen?
There was a game that, I think it was that Brad Ausmus got double switched out, Humberto Quintero.
Broken bat liner to left and caught. A sliding play by Justin Upton. We'll get the rest of that story when we move to the 8th with the score 3-0 Braves. Altuve continues his march to the All-Star game, and the Astros say goodbye to the Atlanta Braves tomorrow afternoon. Pregame live starts at 12:30 only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Let's take a look at the pitching matchup for your next game. Brought to you by Chevron. They want you to care for your car. It's going to be another left-handed pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. Mike Minor, 2-4 on the season.
almost a 1.5 whip. This month he's roughing it a little bit, 0-1 with a high ERA at 5.48. He's going to be going up against Jared Kozart, who had the last win for the Houston Astros out there in Tampa Bay. Looking to continue his success, going for that 8th win. Having himself a great month, 3-1 with a 2.93 ERA.
Colin McHugh and Brent Strom talk about it. A very good outing for Collins. 7 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs. Walking 2, Fanning 9, throwing 106 pitches.
Yeah, really just one bad pitch. That one to Justin Upton. 2-run home run.
After hitting Hayward prior to that, he fell behind Upton 3-1. So that's the night for McHugh. And now he turns it over to Kyle Farnsworth, former Atlanta Brave, who is 0-3 with a 4.13 ERA.
A lot of walks, a lot of hits.
Andrelton Simmons, the batter. There is strike one for Farnsworth.
Still throws hard.
He does.
With that mid-90s, good run on that fastball. Good power slider.
Well, he's continued to keep himself in outstanding condition, as you can tell. He's really lengthened his career. In fact, he's atop some of the leaderboards in terms of longevity by relief pitchers, statistically, in various departments. Really piled up the appearances. He hasn't pitched for a week. He worked the game at Washington. Ground ball, Dominguez. It's a very good adjustment. That ball did not come up for him. It's out number 1. Like it hit right at the edge of the grass there and stayed down.
That was a little worm burner right there, hugging the ground. Good glove. Matty D makes a lot of tough plays look easy.
And Simmons is taking his time. They're waiting for him to get over closer to the dugout. 1 out, and it's B.J. Upton.
That's the old jog of shame right there. Everybody's staring at you. You made the out. Get off the field, buddy.
What is he, a pitcher? Upstairs, ball 1 to B.J. Upton. Farnsworth was released by the Mets in mid-May. The Astros picked him up 3 days later. The Astros are his 9th organization. He is a veteran of 16 big league seasons. 893 appearances. Given to right field. Springer back. Springer reaching up. It's over him and off the wall. And Upton cruises into second base with a line drive double. 11th double for B.J. Upton.
Braves have got to be encouraged by this swing. Ball driven to right field. And again, off the bat, can't assume anything, but it didn't look like George Springer was even going to get this close. Gave it a great effort. It's so funny. You expect him to be Superman out there.
Yeah, every time he goes for a ball like that, it's almost surprising when he doesn't catch it. He has that kind of ability. Farnsworth is coming out of the game. Lefty Darren Downs has been getting loose. Lefty hitters coming up with Stella and Freeman. We'll be right back with Downs headed for the mound and the Braves up 3-0.
the 8th here at Minute Maid Park. And as promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. And tonight, it is Melissa showing off that smile at Minute Maid Park. And I like the hat, Melissa. Good stuff right there. Remember to tweet your photos to hashtag CSNH fan photo for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. That's brought to you by AT&T. Brownie?
Well, the word was she also had a fanny pack tonight, but we can't see it in that photo.
And she would be cool if she had one.
Yeah, she's cool.
Don't laugh, Plummer.
Oh, I'm giggling.
Darren Downs is 1-1. His ERA 2.60. His whip is 1.09. That's really good, Plummer.
No, he's done himself an excellent job coming out of that bullpen. Situational guy facing these left-handers. See that batting average against the lefties down to 206. Not a home run allowed.
It's impressive.
He's in the strike zone too.
He is in the strike zone, and he hadn't allowed a run through his first 13 appearances with the Astros. Now he faces LaStella. LaStella's 0 for 2 with a walk. And they strike one on the slider. And Freeman, another left-handed hitter on deck. So Downs, the lefty, comes in here to try to hold the line with the Braves up 3-0. Farnsworth got 1 out and then gave up the double to B.J. Upton. Braves have 4 hits. The Astros have 3. It's 1-1. We've been enjoying this series so far. Just the conversations with people who have been with the Braves organization for a long time. Kind of a renewal of friendships from years gone by. And these two teams met frequently. Once upon a time, the Braves were in the NL West. Stella has a 1-2 count, but for years they've been in the East, and all the playoff games between these two, a really good rivalry. There's never any bad blood that I can remember. Just solid pitching, well played games, a lot of 3-2 type ball games between the two. Now a balk has been called by Balk and Bob Davidson.
I'm sorry for giggling. It's not shocking to me. We'll have to look at the tape. I'm not sure he's trying to explain it to the Astros dugout because I don't think anybody realized what happened right there.
Now the infield's coming in.
Not sure what Bob saw.
No. Didn't see any of the other umpires calling it at the same time. That does change the inning quite a lot with a runner at third now, 1 out, and the infield in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Of course, any umpire can call a balk. They don't keep stats on balks called by umpires, do they?
I wouldn't be surprised these days. There's somebody out there is watching that, but Bob has definitely earned himself the reputation and the nickname.
All right, chop runner coming home. No chance to get him. And it's 4-0 Braves on the ground out. And then LaStella with a big loop in that grounder and picked up RBI number 7. That's what that ball call did to change the complexion of the inning.
It's too bad for Darren Downs. Does a good job getting the lefty to roll over. Easy read for the runner at third base. Typically with 1 out, you are going on contact, and with the ball chopped like that, it makes it that much easier.
And the run is charged to Kyle Farnsworth, who in 1/3 of an inning allowed 1 hit, 1 run, but no walks, no strikeouts. And Freddie Freeman bats now. Freeman is 1 for 3. He singled in the 6th inning, and then he was thrown out trying to stretch it to a double. Strike 1. Reds lead the Cubs 4-1. They're in the top of the 9th at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Matt Latos pitched a strong game for the Reds. 7 innings, 1 run. Oh, it hit him. Looked like it got him around the right elbow.
I'll give you a case of dead arm.
Yeah. It'll be numb for 2 weeks. That does hurt.
Yeah, you hit that ulnar nerve just right, it might.
Oh, boy.
Squared him up nicely. You can see not a glancing blow.
And Freddie Gonzalez out to take a look, along with the, I think that's Jeff Porter, right? The head athletic trainer of the Braves.
Been there for years.
Freeman has played every inning of every game at first base. And only one other team has used just one player at a fielding position. Eric Hosmer is the only first baseman the Kansas City Royals have used. But will that continue? That's the question right now. Will they get him out? What did you see or not see on the balk? Okay, he leaned forward just slightly, right?
Yep. There was something out of the ordinary right there. Much to the joy of Bob Davidson.
So in the umpire's interpretation, let me get this right, that would be construed as he should have been starting into his motion then if he was going to lean right.
Yeah, come to a set position. He was attempting to deceive the base runner.
Well, that streak is going to end for Freeman. He's coming out of the game now. Ramiro Pena will pinch run for him. Pena at first, and Evan Gattis is the batter.
You know, going back to that balk, and if sometimes it could be a routine thing. Maybe that might be a situation where Downs is kind of leaning in to maybe get a better look at the signs, or you know, you got to be able to discern what is trying to be deceptive and what is not.
Right. That's a strike to Gattis. If you're a hitter and a pitcher does that, are you thinking ball?
Nope. I mean, you recognize it as a hitter because obviously you got a pretty darn good view from being at home plate, but really doesn't have that much of an effect.
In the dirt, runner takes off. Pena on the throw to Altuve is out. That's quite a recovery by Castro. Now the Braves are going to challenge this. Freddy Gonzalez is out very quickly to say, hold the phone, fellas. We are going to consider asking for a review of this. And the second base umpire is James Hoy. Freddie looking into his dugout now to see what kind of directions he gets from his video specialists. Look at that tag by Altuve.
He's out.
He is not going to challenge it. And there's a fine play from 2-4 to end it. In the top of the 8th, 1 run, 1 hit. We go to the bottom half of the score, 4-0 Braves.
LJ Hose due up here in just a second. The Astros giving him another opportunity. They've given several guys an opportunity out in left field, but nobody's been able to get it done offensively. Hose, though, swinging it well at AAA recently. But so has another guy in AAA Oklahoma City, Domingo Santana. this young guy, look at him, 21 years old, doing well, 295 for this year, 12 homers, the 10th youngest player in all of AAA. Impressive stuff there in his first year at that level. But guys, wanted to ask you, if Hose does start to produce here and do what he was doing in AAA, how will this affect what the club does moving forward?
It would seem, anyway, we have not asked Jeff Luhnow or David Stearns in the Astros front office, but it would seem that because of Santana's young age, he's 21, I believe, they feel that he could benefit from more developmental time. Shea Simmons in the game now in relief, and he delivers strike one to L.J. Hose. So it would be a win-win situation if Hose can really grab this left field position, or maybe it's a combination of Hose and Presley, or whatever the case, to give Santana more time to develop, Jeff.
Yeah, I truly believe that they want L.J. Hose to succeed, or anybody for that matter, just go out there and hold down the fort a little bit, so to speak, out in left field. Not to play above what they can do, just go out there and play a solid outfield, get base hits when you need to. That 7, 8, 9 part of the order has been a huge drought for the Houston Astros as far as run scoring, but I think they don't want to force the hand and bring up a guy like Domingo when he's so young.
Simmons opens with a strikeout. 23-year-old right-hander from Cape Girardeau, Missouri, went to Southeast Missouri State University. He was drafted by the Braves in the 22nd round in 2012. In 13 games, he's done very well for them.
Well, let me say this. The numbers that Domingo Santana's putting up and being 6'5", 230 pounds, I wouldn't mind seeing him run around out there a little bit. Seen some highlight reels, and he's got some pop.
He does. Serious pop. Then BR takes a strike. BR's 0 for 2. Robbie Grossman has started more games in left field than any other Astro so far, 30. Alex Presley has started 27. L.J. Hose is starting his 16th. They've used Jesus Guzman, Marlon Gonzalez, Mark Krause, just a little bit there. 0-2 for Shea Simmons. This hard-throwing Braves bullpen, which is leading the National League in average strikeouts per 9 innings, 9.5 strikeouts per 9 on average.
Talking about that big man, Domingo Santana, only 21 years old. You see the big kid laying some head on some of these baseballs, going the other way, driving that gap. Building John Singleton right there. It's good to see him driving the ball all over the ballpark, too. Deep into the night.
He's on the way.
Athletic looking kid at 6'5", 230.
Yes, he is. We are back with another bat with an 0-2 count. Shea Simmons got his first career save 3 weeks ago at Miami. Craig Kimbrell was not put in that situation. Kimbrell given a rest. Kimbrell got the save last night. It's 1-2. The Braves have several different directions they can take with this bullpen right now. Last night they used Anthony Varvaro for 1 scoreless, Jordan Walden for 1 scoreless, Craig Kimbrell for 1 scoreless. Aaron Orang went 6 and got the win. 2-2.
It seems like there's some organizations out there that just have an amazing amount of depth of pitching that have guys like come up and throw 95 consistently. Atlanta Braves, Kansas City Royals is one that jumps out at me. Their bullpen does a great job, and all those guys that come out of it are just absolute flamethrowers.
Broken bat, one hopper, and there's Ramiro Pena over to Chris Johnson. DJ has made the move across the diamond. Freddie Freeman leaving with the injury, 2 outs. That'll be Dexter Fowler. Oh, we didn't finish the story when you were suited up to catch. What happened?
Okay.
Osmus was out of the game.
Yeah, double switch. Quintero comes in, and he takes a foul tip off the chops and goes down in a heap. And everybody else in the dugouts, oh, is Quintero okay? And I'm like, Quintero better be okay.
You were out there fanning him with a trainer?
Man, I told Nate and Rex, I go out there and fix him, whatever you got to do. Meanwhile, I had to head back up and dust the bag off that had my name on it with all my catcher's gear in it, and I'm reluctantly putting this thing on. I get to the top step, and miraculously Humberto Quintero rises from the ashes and continues the game behind home plate. And I got him dinner afterwards and thanked him for a while for getting back up after that, because I was in a full panic.
Well, yeah, your heart had to be pounding. that prospect. Well, Q was such a great guy. I loved having him here. He took some shots.
Yeah. He would not take any cheapies. It seemed like every time he was dinged up, he got squared up pretty good.
Wasn't it Mike Cameron that clocked him at home plate?
That was a catastrophic collision at home plate. I remember that vividly. I was with the Padres at the time.
Okay.
And both guys, I think, pretty much got knocked out on the same play. It was incredible.
That was a vicious shot. But when Q went down, you would have thought he's never getting up. Not just that time, but almost any time.
He could play in the FIFA World Cup. Go down in a heap and just all of a sudden be back in the game. Not like nothing happened.
2 balls and 2 strikes. It was like there was a miracle cure that came over him. Not to make light of a foul ball or shot by a base runner. Tough job. Dribbler up the line by Fowler and into a low foul. Why do you think there aren't as many American-born major league catchers these days? It's just not. People do not want to put their bodies at risk at that position.
Well, I think with the concussion issues that have been popping up here in recent years, the NFL obviously has their issues with the concussions, but catchers are now becoming victims of those concussion-type syndrome and injuries because of the foul tips and some of the backswings. You're seeing that Norris kid up in Oakland. He takes a beating on some backswings because he's so close to the hitters. But I think that, there's a reluctancy to go back there and take a beating.
Fowler strikes out. That does it for the 8th inning, and it's 4-0 Braves.
Yes, hot topics and no holds barred debate. Kevin Eschenfelder serves it up fresh every single night on Sports Talk Live, every weeknight at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. Tomorrow's guests are Bart Enos and Bill Worrell talking NBA draft and the World Cup panel from Lucky's Pub.
Oh, I can't wait for Bart Enos and Bill Worrell to talk about all these trade rumors circulating about the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, they seem to be in the mix when some of these big name players come up in free agency, huh?
Yeah. Jerome Williams takes over for the ninth. He's 1-3 with a 5.56 ERA. He's got a new, he was breaking out a white glove, but he's not allowed to use that in the game. So back to his normal pink glove for game activity as he faces the Braves here. They're downs in 2/3 of an inning, allowed no hits, no runs with no walks or strikeouts and a hit batter. And Evan Gattis is the batter leading it off here in the 9th inning. Gattis is 1 for 3, a double. He scored the first Braves run in the 2nd inning. Yankees beat the Blue Jays in Toronto 5-3. Hiroki Kuroda the winner. Drew Hutchison lost it. And David Robertson got his 18th save. for the Pinstripers. Mark Teixeira hit his 14th. Strike one for Jerome Williams. Juan Jaime is warming up for the Braves. Jose Reyes hit his 6th home run for the Blue Jays. No balls, 2 strikes. 4-4-0 for the Braves. 0-3-0 for the Astros. Atlanta has left 2. Houston has stranded 4. Shot into left field. There wasn't a whole lot of room between third and short. That's where he hit it. And here's the throw from L.J. Hose into second. Altuve will not get a chance to tag him out. Gaddis is in with his 2nd double of the night. That's 9 doubles this season for Evan Gaddis.
Head down. Power position to be in, and yeah, when that hole is not easy to get through, you just ram it through there by hitting it as hard as you possibly can. Evan Gaddis trucking that beard into second base.
Jason Hayward's the batter. He's grounded out, walked, and he's been hit by a pitch. It's in tight on him, ball 1. A lot of pitchers do work him inside because if he extends those long arms, he can hammer a pitch on the outer part of the plate. Altuve fields the grounder, tosses on to Singleton, and that gets Hayward. Gaddis on the 3rd, 1 out.
Just like we promised earlier in tonight's game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Justin Upton's home run, that was the one big mistake that Colin McHugh did. Left that pitch out over the plate. Justin Upton did not miss an ounce of that, driving it out. That would make the score 3-0 over the Houston Astros.
Now the infielders are moving in tight with a runner at 3rd and 1 out, trailing 4-0. The Astros will make every effort to concede to make this play at the plate if they get a chance. Upton with 3 runs batted in tonight. Breaking pitches in, strike 1. He hit the sac fly in the 2nd, then lined hard to short with 2 men on in the 4th. Then the home run in the 7th inning. St. Louis beat Colorado in Colorado 9-6. And that's trapped. The yard throws over to first base. 2 outs. Umpire 3rd, Bill Welke, made the safe sign indicating the ball bounced. And now with 2 outs, it's going to be Chris Johnson. He's 0 for 3. Matt Adams hit his 9th home run in the St. Louis win. Drew Stubbs hit number 6 for the losing Rockies. Rockies have been tumbling like a boulder rolling down the mountains out in Colorado. They've just gone into a free fall. They're now 35 and 43. Foul away, they strike it. Those Rockies players hate it when the media ask them about why they're hitting so much better at home than on the road, don't they?
Yeah, it's just a recurring theme up there if you're playing for the Colorado Rockies. Playing in that ballpark, that thin air, those big gaps. Numbers get pretty big up there, and when you go on the road, they definitely deflate a little bit.
Alloway, 0-2.
And why do they keep asking the same question? It's pretty obvious, isn't it?
It is. It is. Yeah. Well, what would you have for a different answer?
I was going to say, you got to start getting a little creative and mix it up. Maybe they'll stop asking, but it seems pretty obvious to me.
The Brewers took it to the Nationals tonight in Milwaukee, 9-2. So that gives the Braves an opportunity to move to within 1 game of first if they can win this. Johnson swings at it and strikes out. It's no runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 9th with the score: Atlanta 4, Houston 0. Is brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world, and by Whataburger. Get your day started at Whataburger with the new jalapeno cheddar biscuit. Braves 4, Astros 0. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning, and pitcher number 3 is in the game for Atlanta, Juan Jaime, a 26-year-old right-hander. Called up Friday from AAA Gwinnett, making his 3rd major league appearance, and he missed 2 years following Tommy John surgery. So he was in the top 30 Braves prospect list coming into this season. Made his debut at Washington just 5 days ago with a scoreless 11th inning.
Well, looking at some of the velocities this guy's putting up, I can understand why. Fastball at 97 miles an hour, the changeup at 88 miles an hour. Break off a curveball every once in a while, too, with about 75 miles an hour, but he was bringing some noise.
Last year he pitched AA Mississippi. Braves signed him as a free agent in 2011. He's from the Dominican Republic. And he will be facing Jose Altuve, who's been hitless tonight, 0 for 3. That's a rarity. Fouls it away. There's strike 1. The Astros, though, only have 3 hits. Fowler, a first inning double. Singleton, a 2-out double in the 4th. And in the 6th inning, a single by Springer. For the Atlanta Braves, who began the night with a 3.34 staff ERA, it's another well-pitched ball game. It's in for a strike, and it's 0-2. They have pitched 9 shutouts this season. Another lefty going tomorrow. Mike Minor and Jared Cozart tomorrow at 110. It's a bender, and it started out right at his left shoulder. So they step back. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Marco Estrada won for Milwaukee, beating Steven Strasburg for Washington. Strasburg allowing 7 earned runs in 4 2/3 innings, including a grand slam by Scooter Gennett. Fly ball outside the right field line, and Hayward will not be able to get to it.
Sounds like the mascot hit a home run. Scooter Gennett.
And that was in the 2nd inning, and then Chris Davis hit a 4th inning homer off Strasburg, his 14th, so Strasburg's ERA is 3.70.
That sounds like a home run hitting name.
Yeah, Chris Davis. Well, there's Chris Davis from the Orioles. He had more than 50 last year. This Chris Davis from Milwaukee at 14. Fly ball, shallow center field. Let's see if Altuve can get a hit. Now Simmons rides it down. We go to Howard Chen.
Thanks a lot, Brownie. Well, with George Springer up to bat, he is the newest cover boy for Sports Illustrated. So we decided to ask on Twitter what y'all think about the Astros getting this national attention. Scooteronomy tweets, happy to see the Astros get respect for the long-term plan. It takes patience and can't wait to see Springer and the boys bring us back. Ted Ford tweets, it's time the Astros get back in the limelight. Same proud feeling I had when J.R. Richard made the cover, which he did in 1981. Go Astros. Thank you very much for tweeting me. Ho Chen CSN. Brownie, back to you.
Thanks, Howard. There's a foul ball by George Springer. He's 1 for 3. We were hearing the list of those Astros players who have been cover boys on Sports Illustrated. Randy Johnson is one of those guys. And Sonny Jackson. Didn't remember that one.
Thought he was a boxer.
Yeah, he probably was. And Roger Clemens. So that's quite an honor for George Springer to be on the cover of this week's issue of Sports Illustrated. We have not had a chance to read the article that accompanies that cover photo yet. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, good for the organization, I think. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Getting the exposure. I think it's good for the fans. Gives them a little sign of hope. I know they've been asked to be extremely patient. So it's good to see some signs of life nationwide. People are going to start tuning in and watching some of this young talent do what they do.
It'll be an interesting read with all that's been going on in the Astros front office. How they prepare their game plan, get ready for the draft, get ready for free agency, possible trades, evaluate their own players. Should be interesting. Springer's down on strikes. That's 2 outs. And that's 7 strikeouts for the night for the Braves pitching staff. The Astros have scored 7 runs in their last 6 games, including this one. And now it's Singleton. Singleton doubled in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. Had it going for a while there, but now offensively they have really struggled the last 10 days. Strike to Singleton.
And if it finishes this way with them being shut out again, that's going to be 3 shutouts in their last 6 games.
Yeah. Tonight is not a high strikeout game, but they've been suffering through that. 1 ball, 1 strike. Alex Wood gave up a leadoff double to Fowler. And he didn't give up another hit until 2 outs in the 4th. The Astros simply have not had many opportunities. Foul ball comes back and it's 1-2. Bay Rays beat the Pirates 5-1. The Pirates have been surging, but tonight it was David Price beating them with an overpowering game. 8 1/3 innings, 1 run, walking 1, fanning 11. Two and 2. So he could be somebody that teams in contention are going to make a bid for. Will the Rays trade him? That's something they typically have not done down through the years with their top player. Singleton strikes out. That's quite a game for the Atlanta Braves pitching staff. Wood, Simmons, and Jaime collaborate on a 3-hit shutout. Alex Wood going to 6-6. Colin McHugh 4-6 with the loss. The Braves have won the first 2 of this 3-game series. This one goes their way, 4-0 Atlanta.